Supported by and do not reflect those of the Evening Rush Network. Viewers' discretion is advised.
Good evening, everyone. This is Coach Matt here with my main man, Dutch.
What's going on, boss?
We good, man. We good. We're getting even more applause. We went double on the applause this tonight. That makes me because you're in the building. You're in the building. So welcome to another episode of Live by the Three podcast on the Evening Rush Network. This is Coach Matt again with Dutch. He's not filling in for Tyler. Dutch has been on the show a couple times, but Tyler had an engagement that he had to attend today, so he'll be back next week, hopefully. We are going to have a fun show tonight in his spirit. He's still with us in the physical, but just we're going to try to carry on without him. So for this week. So appreciate everybody stopping by and joining us this evening. And continue to support the show, continue to support the channel. You can find us on iHeartRadio, Pandora. The show goes on YouTube, Amazon Fire Stick. And the most important is please download the app, the Evening Rush Network app on all of your mobile devices. You can download the app. And on Instagram, please follow the show on Instagram, Live by the Three podcast. So that's where you can find us. That's how you can continue to support. And as always, we appreciate the follows. But Dutch, how was your week? How's everything going for you?
Everything's good. Everything, can't complain. Trying to get everything together for my trip to. We'll be going to Miami and Florida in February for national football team. So
nice. Okay,
it's a good move right there.
Snowbirding, getting away from the cold, go down to Florida for a little bit. Yeah,
just a weekend to play games. The Nationals game. My pro they have Nationals down there in Florida, in Orlando and in Miami. So
okay.
Good thing.
No, that's what's up. That's what's up. So, appreciate, like I said, you joining us this week, and let's jump right into it. So, as you know, for the people that don't know, Dutch, tell them a little bit about your football background and what you're currently doing on the football. Since you're talking about taking this trip to Florida, so tell the people that don't know about your football background and what you're doing right now in football.
Let's see. I've played the game, of course. As far as coaching, I've been coaching since 2004.
Okay.
I've coached high school for 8 years. Been coaching semi-pro since 2011.
Okay.
I got 3 championships under my belt right now, and going for more. So yeah, that's me. I've been a head coach. I've been offensive coordinator. I've been all around. So I just love the game. I got a passion for the game.
Okay. All right. Well, that'll lead us into our first topic. So let's stick on football. So, we usually touch on, the NFL is picking up, really good. We're 4 weeks away from the end of the regular season and the playoffs, and the playoff picture is starting to take shape a little bit. But, so we're definitely going to touch on that. But I wanted to get your opinion, being a football guy, on a new proposal that has been coming through that I saw the owners and everything have been discussing, and it's in regard to possible ejections. So I guess a proposal that came up was ejections for players, a defensive player, I guess more than likely targeting an offensive player, what they call a defensive player. So I guess if somebody's in the air or if they have their back turned and they can't see somebody coming, that now it's a penalty, a flag gets thrown, a yardage penalty, that type of thing. I believe now, and for quarterbacks at least, for late hits and things like that, the NFL institutes fines currently, right? So I guess a proposal that was on the table was that a player, if the referees feel that he made a hit on a defensive player, that they can actually be ejected from that game to make the penalty stiffer. I think it was a couple of different proposals getting thrown around that, either the referee right away, they can throw the flag and say, okay, that was, an excessive hit against a defensive player, throw that player right out, eject them for the game. I think they also talked about it possibly being something that's reviewable, where say the flag doesn't go down for an excessive hit, that they can go to the monitor and watch it and review it and say, okay, yes, that was excessive, and then toss the player for that. And then I also heard that, and I don't know how true it is, that it might have been a point of discussion that say if it wasn't called an excessive hit, that there might have even been an opportunity for a coach to challenge it and throw the red, make it something that's challengeable, that the coach wants to, he can throw the red flag and say, I want y'all to review it to see if that's something that was worthy of getting thrown out the game. So that's obviously a lot. It was a lot of speculation. I think that it's getting kicked around. I think it might have gotten voted down, or they might still be in the negotiations or whatever, and then maybe the player association gets involved. I'm not sure. You might probably know more about that than I do, but I wanted to get your thoughts on that. So what's your thought on that whole scenario or talk of those proposals?
So there's a lot of talk recently within the last couple of years how the game has gotten soft. Football has gotten soft. The refs aren't letting the players play the game. You hear that a lot. To an extent, I agree. But in this case, hits on a defenseless player, I sort of agree with the league with this one. I think something more than 15 yards should be done about it. Especially if it's like they already banned the crackback blocks and stuff like that. So that's already out. I believe if you do a crackback, you could get ejected for that as well. I believe that's already in the books. But that's to me, that's not part of the game, in my opinion. Hitting a defenseless player is not part of the game. They always say keep your head on the swivel.
Right.
So I started playing football in '88. Started playing in '88. And that was one thing that coaches always, taught me: keep your head on the swivel, no matter where you are on the field. Keep your head on the swivel because it could happen anytime. Does that mean it's right that it could happen anytime? No. If a player, let's throw a scenario out there.
Please do.
Let's say you got a pass play or something, right? Quarterback drops back, he throws the pass, passes down the field, receiver catches the ball, he's running. If you have a lineman or somebody that has nothing to do with the play, or another receiver on the other side of the field, and a defensive and a player comes and hits him just because, that he should be out there. And honestly, I think that goes on both sides. It's not even just a defensive player, offensive player too. If an offensive player goes and hits a defensive player just because it has nothing to do with the play, yeah, he should go, because anything can happen at that point.
Right.
Anything can happen. If he doesn't see it, he doesn't know it's coming. Anything can happen. There's so many injuries that could come from that. So yeah, in my opinion, he needs to go.
Okay.
That's not part of the game. That's not something you're taught to do. You're taught that it can happen. You're taught that it can happen. But you're not taught to do that. You're not taught to just go hitting random people and just go hit. You're taught to, of course, hit and play until the whistle is blown.
Right.
Not just go around just hitting people just because. Now, the days of crackback blocks, that was taught. To crack back on someone, they're not paying a crackback. That was taught, but that hasn't been around for a couple of years. So
yeah, and I think it does go along with the NFL trying to protect players and the long-term injuries, the concussions and things like that. Like you said, if somebody's not paying attention and then you hit them, just blindside them, and now they head hits a certain way, and then now you're talking about concussion possibilities and what that leads to, which is obviously very unfortunate. So I definitely see it now. Okay, so I'm gonna put you're the NFL commissioner now. Obviously, then they have to vote on it and stuff like that. How would you see it going? Is it something that the referee, so one referee has all the discretion. If he sees something and he thinks it's excessive, then he gets to throw it out. Throw that player out? Is it something that they have to, maybe if they're going to take it to that extreme, they make the call on the field, and then it has to get reviewed. You know how sometimes they do the review either in the booth or in New York or where, you know what I mean? Like at a central office where they have to review it, or do you leave it up to the refs on the field? Does it have to happen higher up? Is it something that a coach can do? Like, okay, maybe a referee didn't see it or didn't see the angle or whatever, but we think it's something that y'all need to look at and make it reviewable or something challengeable. So if you're the commissioner of the NFL and you can institute this type of rule, what would you say is the appropriate way for it to be handled, and how would you implement it?
It's a good one. Me, I would make it reviewable.
Okay.
I'll make it reviewable. Because some things happen real time that like it might seem like it's a certain way, but then when you look back at it, it's not.
Okay. Yep.
And then vice versa. So something might seem like it's it's not as bad as it really is, and when you look back at it, whoa. So
right.
we'll definitely make it reviewable. What I leave up to a coach's discretion. That's tricky right there, leaving up to a coach, because
just for the review, like, so just like they can challenge the spot of the ball, just like they can challenge, whether they stepped out of bounds, if it was a catch or not, and a call gets, you know what I mean? Like, just give them the opportunity to say, hey, I think y'all missed this, and then now it gets reviewed.
No.
Okay. That's fair.
I wouldn't, because it happened. I'm not saying, okay, like I said, I agree that something should be done, but then when you leave it up to a coach and them having to be able to throw it's just going to slow the game down even more, in my opinion. Let the refs handle it. The refs see it. If the refs, it's taught in football, if the refs don't see it, it didn't happen.
Right. Right.
I'm sure that's taught in every sport.
Right. Yeah.
In every sport, the refs don't see it didn't happen. It wasn't a foul. The refs didn't see it. It wasn't a foul. So, yeah, I'll leave it up to the refs. I'll leave it up to the refs. It should be reviewed. It shouldn't be just, okay, one ref sees it, he's automatically injected. No, it's definitely reviewed. Go to the booth, look at it, huddle up, do what y'all got to do, and then come back and make your call.
Okay. Just the refs on the field, because one of the arguments that I think it was the owner, and it might have been the Cowboys GM or somebody that made a comment, and they said that it's too important a decision to just leave. Like, so say it's like, you're in the middle of a playoff game, and say it's your best defensive player, and then he, or best, what like you said, it could happen on both sides of the ball, but it's one of your best players, and boom, he gets a flag for a hit, and then they're like, yo, he's out. Now that's a lot of implications, because playoffs is win or go home. It's the second or third quarter, and your best, one of your best players gets thrown out the game. That changes that now, and obviously they want it to be that severe so people don't do it, right? But now that could change the whole course of the game, the playoff picture, everything. So he was saying that he doesn't trust the NFL officials to make it, be able to make that big of a decision just on their own. So he was saying that he doesn't agree with it. He said, now, if it was something that maybe got kicked up to New York and now it's a higher level of scrutiny, because he's saying, like, to take that step to throw somebody who potentially could be, like say, like, let's just say, it wasn't the Cowboys, but let's just say it was someone like Aaron Donald or something, like, what I'm saying? Like, now, okay, you knock Aaron Donald out of a playoff game, you know what I mean? Just based on, the call that was made on the field. That's a lot. That's significant. So he was saying, maybe kick it up higher level. So now, okay, the referees on the field say something, and then it's like, okay, this is what we think. But then now have somebody, if you're going to take it as far as you kicking this person out the game, it's got to be a higher level than just a call on the field.
To me, that makes no sense.
Okay.
Because okay, if the rule is, if they implement the rule, if a player hits a defenseless player, he's ejected.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yep.
It doesn't matter who makes the call. If the penalty happened,
Right.
it doesn't matter if it's the refs on the field, if it's the refs in New York. If the penalty actually happened, it doesn't matter who says the play is ejected, because the rule is now. If the rule is okay, because all right. This is tricky, a defenseless player, because it's like, okay, let's take roughing the passer, for example, right?
Right. Yeah.
Roughing the passer, that's a penalty that could be under review, because it's like, okay, did he hit the quarterback? How long after the quarterback threw the ball did he hit the quarterback? You know what I'm saying? So that's something that's ticky-tacky.
Right. It's a judgment call, right?
Yeah, a hit on a defenseless player, that's just a hit on the, like, there's nothing to really, there's nothing to really judge about that. It's a dude with his back turned, someone coming and hitting him. Like, what is there to really be like, we got to check the severity? Like, so say the hit is it based on severity? So is it okay? I pushed him. Is it I claimed them? Is it
right?
Like, how do you judge this now?
Right. Right. Yeah, it would have to be very defined. It would have, and I think that's what the GM was saying, is it's like, if you just say, well, if you hit a defensive player, you can be ejected. Right. Then that's what I'm saying. When you have that gray area and leaves it up to interpretation, and then, like I said, and you're potentially going to throw a player out of the game that could be a huge difference maker for the team. That's what I think they're worried about, because it's too abstract a concept. It's not what I'm saying? Like, so that's why I think he was saying he doesn't want to leave it just up to the officials on the field, because what you just might have and it could be you have one official that feels, he might be more lenient on that type of a play. Like you say, he might be an old school football guy. Like, this is football, whatever. Nah, yeah, it was a hard hit, but it wasn't, you know what I mean? Like, there's too much gray area. But if it's just like, well, anytime somebody hits a defensive player, they're automatically out. That's made, you know what I'm saying? That could be a big thing. So I think that's what he was saying, is that it's not defined enough. And then now you're just going to leave it up to the interpretation of just whoever's on the field that particular day. And that's why he was saying it might need to be something that gets kicked up even higher to make sure. So now there's a couple of levels where everyone is in agreement, like, yes, this dude needs to go.
Okay, okay, let's put this out there. Okay. A player throws a punch on another player.
Right.
He's ejected.
Right. Mm-hmm.
There's no ifs, ands, or buts.
No.
He's ejected. You throw a punch, he's ejected. So are they going to treat it like that? Basically, are they going to treat it like that?
Right. Right.
You do this, no ifs, ands, or buts, you're rejected.
Right. And that's the thing, though, because the defensive player, in a way, is still kind of a judgment call. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, if somebody just throws a punch, that's obvious to everybody, right? But different people might have different interpretations of what a defense, like you said, with the late hit on the quarterback. Some referees, if you took one step after the quarterback throws the ball, they might call roughing the passers. Some referees might say, well, I'll give you 2 steps. Or no, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? And just that the difference between 1 step and 2 step between when the quarterback released the ball might be the difference. But now if you're going to say, okay, that one referee, if you take one more step after he releases the ball, I'm throwing you out the game, that's major. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it could be another referee on a different day, different whatever, and they may say, okay, yeah, I'm not calling it for 1 step, I'm calling it for 2. So even that discrepancy right there, that makes it, you know what I mean? That makes it tough. That makes it tough.
Because one ref might look at it at a DB might push a receiver down.
Right.
That's a hit on a defensive player.
If he's in the air trying to make a catch and you just push him out of bounds or something like that. Yeah.
No. I'm talking about. They're talking about hits that have nothing to do with the play. When you hit someone that has nothing to do with the play is going on and dudes are just clocking other dudes on.
Is that what it was? Okay.
That's what they're talking about with a hit on a defenseless play.
Okay, got you.
The player is defenseless. His back is turned. Whatever. You just come in and smack him or something like that. Whatever. That's a hit on a defenseless player. Whatever. So they're saying those. They want to get rid of those.
Right.
Now, like I said, a hit could just be someone pushing someone.
Mm-hmm.
a hit because someone he could come and smack him and clean him and push him. So like it's ticky tack. I don't know.
Yeah. It's tough. It's interesting. So, so obviously it's something that's coming up in these NFL meetings, and something may happen in the future. So it'll be we'll see. We'll see where it goes. We'll see where
I would say, first offense, a penalty, second offense ejected, but I think that's what it is now.
Right. Yeah.
So usually people don't get 2 hits on a defensive play in one game. So
right. No. Yeah, it's like, and I don't think there's too many NFL guys that are out there trying to hit, hurt people or whatever. Like I said, it's just sometimes it's, it's just a speed, right? It's the speed of the game, and
every game it happens all the time. It happens.
Yep. Okay. All right. So let's jump into the NFL playoff picture. So we got about 4 games left of the regular season, and it's starting to get tight. Starting to get tight. So let's start with the AFC. So the AFC picture is right now we got the Bills in first place. All right, they're the number 1 seed. They got a big matchup coming up this week. They got the Dolphins, and the Dolphins are sitting at the number 6 spot right now. So that's a big game for the Dolphins, especially. So that'll be that's one
that game for the Dolphins, and it's a big game for the Bills as well.
Absolutely,
because the Bills could give up first with this one.
Absolutely, yep, absolutely. So so we got that going on. The Chiefs right now are the number 2 seed. All right,
they both got the same record, but the Bills got the tiebreaker.
Yep. Right. Then you got the Ravens in the 3 seed. All right. They so the Ravens they're first in the AFC North, and then you got the Titans, who are only 7-6, but they're the 4 seed because they're the first in the AFC South, which isn't too strong. So they're sitting pretty good right now. Like I said, their record, they're only 7-6, but the AFC South isn't that strong. So they got the 4 seed with that. And then right on the outside, you got the Bengals, who are in second place. They're 9-4.
The scariest team right now. That's the scariest team until
yeah. They can get hot for sure.
They're getting hot. They're balling right now.
They're starting to play better. You got the Dolphins, who they started off good, but haven't been playing that well. They're kind of limping right now, but they got a chance to get right. If they can beat the Bills, they have a chance. So they're in the 6th seed right now, and then you got the Patriots at 7-6
in the area as well.
Right.
As well.
And you got the Patriots sitting in the 7th seed, all right, and they're 3rd in the AFC East. And then they got the Raiders coming up, so that's an opportunity for them to maybe move up. Then you got on the bubble, you got the Chargers at 7-6.
And the Jets are 7-6.
And the Jets are 7-6. So the Patriots have the tiebreak. The Jets have the same record as the Patriots, but the Patriots swept the Jets. I'm gonna, keep my feelings about that to myself for the time being. And then so they're right there. The Jets are in the 9 seed after the Chargers, but the Jacksonville now this is where it gets crazy, because the Jacksonville Jaguars are still on the bubble, and they're 5-8, but they're in second place in the AFC South. So technically, they could catch the Titans technically, but we'll see.
We'll see.
Yeah, and then we got the Raiders in the 11th spot, and then it keeps going down. So what are your thoughts? So let's start with the AFC. We'll talk about that. So what are your thoughts on the AFC picture right now? How do you see it shaking out over these next? Well, let's not go all the way. Just to say in this next week or so, how do you see it shaping out?
Let me see. Honestly, I see it pretty much staying the same for the most part in the AFC. Let's see. We got Ravens playing the Browns. I see the Ravens winning that game.
Okay.
Dolphins playing the Bills. I got the Bills winning that game.
Okay.
The Jets and the Lions are playing.
Lions are playing well. That's a scary game.
The Lions are playing well. That's a scary game for the Jets.
It is.
7-7. Jets might go 7-7.
I'm not going to get on my on my fandom right now. I got to keep it real. That's not a cake. In the beginning of the year, you're like, oh, okay, that's a win, but not now.
The Lions are balling.
Not now.
The Chiefs got an easy one. They got the Texans.
Yeah.
So they got an easy one. The Patriots and Raiders. That's going to be an interesting game, right?
Yeah. The Raiders still got a chance. They still got a chance.
And another one, the Titans and the Chargers.
Yeah, another two teams
That's
that's in the
gonna
hunt.
be,
Big
yeah,
game. Big game.
that's a big game.
Mm-hmm.
Big game. I actually have the Titans in that.
Okay.
I actually have the Titans in that. Let's see, the Bengals play the Bucks. It's a big game for the Bengals.
For sure.
The Bucks are in the playoffs regardless.
Right,
because of their decision.
Yep.
That's a big game. That's a huge game for the Bengals right there. I actually have them winning that game.
Okay.
I have them winning that game. And that's it. That's it for the AFC. That's it. So like I said, I pretty much have it staying the same.
Okay.
With the exception of the Titans and Chargers, because that's gonna dictate a lot if whoever wins that game.
Right.
And then the Raiders and Patriots is gonna dictate a lot too.
Yep.
So those two games right there is gonna shake things up in the AFC and the playoff picture. But besides that, yeah, pretty much everybody's gonna win out for the most part.
Okay. All right. So let's switch over to the NFC. So got the Eagles in the number 1 spot. They've clinched the playoffs already, so they're good. They clinched the playoff spot. They haven't clinched anything past that, but they got the Bears coming up this week. The Bears are 3-10. Obviously any given Sunday, but that should be they should be okay in that matchup. The Vikings.
I believe, not to cut you off, I believe the Eagles have one of the easiest remaining schedules. So
okay.
They should have a smooth route to the playoffs.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Okay. So then now you got the Vikings. All right, they're 10-3, having a great year. They got the Colts this week, so not sure how much that'll challenge them. Niners got a tough game. They got the Seahawks. All right, so the Niners are number 1 in the NFC West, but the Seahawks are trying to.
That game is going on right now. The Seahawks.
Oh, that's the game. Okay, that's a Thursday night game. Okay, that's a huge game. Huge game. Okay, all right. And then you got the Buccaneers, like you mentioned. They're 6-7, but they're in first place. What's up with the South, man? The AFC South and the NFC North. I'm sorry, the AFC South and the NFC South are both weak. All right, so they're 6-7, but they're in first place. Like you said, they got the game against the Bengals, so there could be a little shakeup if they don't lose that. So then you got the Cowboys in the 5th seed, 10-3. That's crazy. They're 10-3 and they're the 5th seed right now, but that's just that's the way the rules go. All right, so then they have the Jaguars this week. Jaguars been playing a little bit better, so that's not a cakewalk anymore.
I think I got the Cowboys in that though.
Okay. Yep. Then you got the Washington Commanders against the Giants. That's a huge game. Both teams have the exact same record, 7-5-1.
They tied last time they played.
7-5-1. So that's a huge game right there. Huge game, and they're both they're tied right now for those last 2 spots. They're the 6 and 7 seed, so they could flip flop if the Giants win. They could flip flop with the Commanders, and if the Washington wins, and they can put the Giants, further down, out of contention for a spot. So that's a huge, big game with big implications. That might be one of the biggest games in it. That might be the biggest NFC. But I would say between that and the game that's going on right now with the 49ers and the Seahawks.
You know what's so funny? It'll be so funny if they tied again.
Not right, because then I'm assuming that they have contingencies and playoff and tiebreakers for all of these different things, right? But I don't know how far. I'm sure they have it going, with every possibility. But and like you mentioned, with the Jets and the Lions, the Lions are 6-7, and they're in the 9 spot right now, so they're only a couple spots out of making the playoffs. So they're going to be hungry. They're going to be coming in ready to go. You got the Packers in the 10th spot, and they got the Rams. So so it'll be interesting to see. So I picked out the Niners and the Seahawks that's going on right now, and the Giants and the Commanders. There's 2 games, a lot of implications. What do you got?
I agree. I actually agree. To me, right now in the NFC, the Niners are the scariest team entering the playoffs. They're really balling. They're clicking on all cylinders. Offense, defense, they're clicking on all cylinders. And with the addition of McCaffrey, he just added another element to their offense. You know,
big trade. Yep.
Yes, that was huge right there. That was huge. Minnesota, to me, they're doing what Minnesota does. They usually have a good regular season and then drop the ball in the playoffs. So,
so you're not a believer.
I'm not a believer. It's what they do every season. It's what they do every year. You know?
So is it a Kirk Cousins thing or just the Vikings in general? Like where's your or all of the above?
Like Kirk Cousins going to get his numbers.
Right.
He's going to get his numbers. He does it every year. If you look at the man has great numbers, but he gets to the postseason and he pulls the Cowboys. You know, and he's starting to look like he looks like the Cowboys. Speaking of, great segue. You know, great segue into the Cowboys. The Cowboys is another scary team. They talks of picking up a couple receivers. You know, one Odell. I don't know how much, you know, of an addition that'd be. Someone that's joining the team coming off of an injury, not playing in the whole year.
Right.
So, you know, it is what it is. I think that's more of a name and more looking forward to next year. But they're still a good team. They're still a good team. Sure. I'm not impressed with the play of Dak right now.
Okay.
You know, Dak, the last couple of weeks, he hasn't been, you know, really, you know, dacking it up, shall I say. He hasn't really been playing that good. So entering the playoffs, that's a little worrying for them. You know, me being a Giants fan, I don't care.
Right. Praying on their downfall.
Yeah. But being realistic, I don't see the Giants or the Commanders pretty much doing anything entering the playoffs. I see both of them teams as a first round exit, you know. So yeah, I don't see neither one of those teams really doing much in the playoffs.
Yeah. I mean, it's an interesting year when you got the AFC East and the NFC East are the two strongest, you know, the divisions, and then the AFC South and the NFC South are the two weakest. So it's matching up on both sides.
Do you have a Super Bowl prediction? You have a Super Bowl matchup?
You know what, man? Like, I'll be honest with you. I'm so anti-Bills that I can't. It's hard for me to, you know, they're looking like one of the best teams in the AFC. But it's hard for me to, you know, to come out and say that. You know, I could just throw the Chiefs in there and say, you know, yeah, there's going to be the Chiefs. And I mean, the Eagles have been dominant. So it's like, it's hard to see, you know, obviously anything can happen. You know, I'm not wishing any injuries on them, but injuries are part of the game. But I mean, they're just rolling. So it's really hard to see anybody from the NFC. It's not to say that nobody can hang with them at all, but they've just been so dominant. It's hard for it, you know, really see. They're probably going to have home field all the way through.
Definitely got home field.
Right.
Definitely.
So I don't see anybody really knocking them off. And, you know, and the AFC is a little bit tighter where, you know, I think it's a little bit more competitive in the AFC where, you got the Bills, you got the Chiefs, you know, the Ravens, you know what I mean? Like, so that could be just depending on who gets home field and where the games are played and who's out there, you know, that could be a little bit more of a toss. So like I said, it's hard for me to just say the Bills because I just don't like them. So, you know, so I'll go right now. I'll say Kansas City and Philly. That's what I'll say.
Okay. All right, that'd be a good matchup too.
Oh, for sure. Oh, Andy Reid. Oh man, you got, there'd be a lot of drama with that one. That would be interesting. I mean, Andy, he's been away for a while, but for sure that would be a dynamic one. Okay, all right. So why don't we take a break for a halftime, and we'll be back on Live by the Three podcast on the other side on the Evening Rush Network.
Looking to podcast shows and do not know where to start? The Evening Rush Network can help you with that. Call us at 929-441-2417 or email us at theeveningrushnetwork@gmail.com for dates and prices. We got you for all your podcast needs. The Evening Rush Network. Tune in, subscribe, and share.
Welcome back to the Live by the Three Sports Podcast. It's Coach Matt here with my man Dutch. So we talked some NFL stuff in the first half, and now in the second half, let's move over to the NBA. So the NBA season's been going on for a little bit. It's things are starting to heat up, but I thought an interesting thing that happened before we get into the standings and the playoff, pictures. Well, the playoff, it's too early for the playoffs with the NBA, but just, the power rankings I meant to say. But wanted to talk about something that happened yesterday, I believe. No, Tuesday. So Draymond Green, who, he gets into a lot of stuff with a lot of people, right? It's always something with him. But he actually had a situation, I believe it was in Milwaukee on Tuesday, where he got into it with a fan, and he said the fan basically made a threat. He didn't he didn't say exactly what the comment was, but he said he basically threatened his life. And Draymond, usually he's down to throw down with anybody, but he kept his cool and he alerted the referees, and the referees got security, and then they decided to eject that fan from the game. So he handled it, the way you're supposed to handle it. He ain't, go up in the stands and, hit anybody or anything like that. So I was reading, he had an interesting quote, and I wanted to get your opinion on it. So I'll read you the entire piece of this article. I think I got it from ESPN. So it said, Tuesday wasn't the first time Greed had an incident with a fan this season. Just over a week ago, he was fined $25,000 for a verbal altercation with a fan in Dallas. After that November 29th incident, Green told ESPN he wasn't sure what else the league could do that it hasn't already done to ensure good fan behavior and protect players. Mm-hmm. On Tuesday, he reiterated that sentiment, but made it clear he knows this isn't an issue the league ignores. Where he takes issue with the NBA is when they jump and fine guys for saying something back, in quotes. I think when you see guys get fined, it's more often a license for more people to do it. So I guess his opinion is the NBA, the fans know, hey, if I can say something to an NBA player to get them riled up, and I don't like them or whatever, I just want to be a nuisance or trolling, whatever you want to call it, that they know that if the player responds back, that they can get a fine. And so I guess they feel like they won if they can get an NBA player to get fined by getting into it with them, which is weird, but okay. So, but Green said he feels it would take something or someone outside of the NBA to make real change regarding fan decorum. There are, in quotes, there are no real consequences, Green said. Yeah, you can't come back to the game, or even if you get arrested, nothing really happens. You just hope it gets to a point where these leagues can work with legislators to implement laws, because that's the only thing that's really going to correct the issue. So when I read that, I was like, okay. So, obviously, fans have been talking stuff to players for ever since there have been fans in the stands of, and I'm sure all types of things have been said, and, but now we're in a new age and now they're trying to clean this stuff up, and rightfully so. I don't think it's okay for somebody to just be able to say anything just because they paid a ticket and just talk crazy to people and just say outlandish things and all of that. So I'm on board for that. But now he's talking about it actually being, I guess, enhanced laws or something to, kind of curb this behavior. So I guess what's good starting point is, should there be more laws, or should there be laws, I guess, and more than what's currently on the books implemented to prevent rude fan behavior at sporting events? Do you think that should be the case?
All right. I believe fans, like we said, should be allowed to say certain things. Mm-hmm. And when I say certain things, I believe it should be things referring to a player's performance. Mm-hmm. Like you could talk about his game, you could talk about, how he's playing, whatever. But once you start getting personal and threats, and some fans actually throw things, they throw beer, they throw cups, to me, that's excessive.
Right.
Right there should definitely be. All right. It should be treated the same way it would be treated if it was outside of the stadium. You can't just go up to someone and threaten them.
Right.
You know, there's laws against that. There's laws against threatening someone and saying, "I'm gonna do this to you. I'll do that to you. Whatever." So I think it should be treated the same way. But I think it is true. But what does he want to be done? If
That's right. That's
a fan does something and they're pointed out. I've seen fans taken out in handcuffs. I've seen fans, you know, so what more can be done? If someone's arrested and not just thrown out, not just okay, you gotta leave the stadium. I'm talking about if you're arrested, you have to go see you know what I'm saying, see a judge or pay whatever. To me, there's not really much you can do from there.
Right. So let's use this as an example, right? So as you said, if you were to go up to somebody and say, "I'm going to kill you" on the street, that's pretty much that's close to a felony, right? Like you can get a felony charge for that. Like if you show it, you know what I'm saying? Like if it with intent, right? Like if you come up to somebody and say, "Yo, I'm going to kill you," like that's, you know, you can, that's a serious thing. If you say that, if that same fan says that to Draymond Green, he's not going to get a felony. He might get a misdemeanor. You know what I'm saying? At the most, he's, you know, like you say, he's probably going to get ejected from the game and then go on with his life. He's not going to see a judge for saying that. You get him? So I guess what Draymond is saying is, like, similar to what you said, the same penalty you would get on the street should be the same thing you get, you know, in an NBA game. So like you said, if you were to throw a bottle at somebody at, you know, in the street, if you throw a bottle at somebody, you're going to get a different level of charge. But if you're at an NBA game or a football game and you throw a bottle, okay, security will bring you out, but that might be the end of it. So should you face the exact same charge? Or maybe what he's saying is the only way to stop it from happening at inside the NBA arena, NFL arena, MLB, whatever, is to maybe make the penalties even stiffer. And that's the only way they'll really curb it. Like, do you agree with that? Like making the penalties even harsher than they would be on the street?
Harsher? I wouldn't say harsher because sometimes, and most of the time, a lot of these situations, you know, these fans have alcohol in their systems, you know, so you know,
which the arena did sell to them.
So it's like, do you when there's a fight at the bar because two people are drunk, do you blame the bar? Do you blame the two people that were fighting? You know, so it's I think, you know, when it comes to an actual charge, I just think they should be handled like it was, like I said, like it would be handled outside of the arena. It shouldn't be just be okay, security throws you out, you can't come back. No. Now, if it's just for you harassing a player on you talking about his game, you told him you're a bum, you're this, you're talking about a player, then okay, arena hand. But when it comes, like I said, threats, throwing things, that stuff right there should be handled by the law.
Right. All right, so let's just break it down. Like I said, if you was on the street, if somebody threw popcorn at you, not you, I'm just saying, if you say you on the bus, somebody's on the bus on the subway, and somebody they got a bag of popcorn in their hand and they just throw it in your face. Cops show up, right?
They could be arrested. They'd be arrested for that. They could be
right.
arrested.
You'd be arrested. You'd be arrested for that. Right. You'd be arrested for that. Now, same thing happens, like you said, player gets ejected or whatever, and they're walking out the stand, and a fan just takes their bucket of popcorn and turns it over on their head as they're walking out.
Now, here's the thing. Here's the catch, though. If I did that in the streets, right? Wouldn't it be say you poured popcorn on me in the street? So, and you went to pull, wouldn't it be on you to press charges against me, though?
Yes.
So wouldn't it be on that player? So if that player wanted to say, okay, I want to press charges against that person that did so and so. Then, but would it be just okay? He put popcorn on them. Let's arrest him just because he did it, or should the player have to press charges on him?
That's a great question. What do you think? So what? Because I think what Draymond is saying, I think what he's saying is there has to be some type of fear on the fan that if I do X, Y, and Z, something bad is going to happen to me. So what you're saying, I get what you're saying, but what if? Because I think that's the problem. They don't want it. They want
to say it's a bottle. A bottle, he'll be automatically arrested. I don't think it would be no. You throw a bottle at someone, or let's say you throw beer on someone. You throw a cup of beer. Mm-hmm. I think they're going to be automatically arrested.
Right.
So do you treat popcorn the same as you treat a bottle?
That's a great point. But I think what his point is, he's saying that it has to be something that's on the book established already to stop a fan from doing it. Not necessarily to punish them after the fact, but to scare them into not doing it. So now what you're saying, I agree. If you leave it up to the individual player, right? So if you leave it up to the individual player, and so now I'm a fan in the stands, I might take my chances at pouring something on you if I say, well, I don't think that dude might not press charges on me. You know what I'm saying? If you leave it up to the discretion of that player, what if that player says, oh, man, I ain't no punk. So, yeah, all right, yeah, you threw some popcorn on me. I'm not going to take, or just say they don't like cops. So they're like, all right, I'm not going to put somebody in the criminal justice system for pouring popcorn on me. All right, so that fan might take that chance, as opposed to if it's like it's, on the law books, hey, if you do this, you're getting a felony charge or whatever. So now that might, regardless of what the player thinks or whatever, that's going to stop they hope that would discourage the fans from engaging in that type of behavior on Jump Street instead of trying to take a chance. Well, maybe they will, maybe they won't.
But fans know it's illegal for them to throw beer. That's illegal. They know that. They know it's illegal for them to throw cups and stuff at players. They still do it. Because you know what it is? They figure, it's 20-something thousand people in here.
Right, they're not going to notice me. Right.
In the football arena, it's 80-something, 70-something thousand. Who's going to see me? Who's going to see little old me throwing this cup?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So a fan knowing it's illegal is still going to do it, especially like we said, with that alcohol in their system. That's not going to stop them from throwing something or saying whatever they're going to say, knowing it's illegal. Like people know shit is illegal every day and they still do it.
And that was going to be my next question. So he's saying that it would have to be something legislated from outside the NBA to curb the behavior. That was my follow-up question. If they do all of that, do you think would it change fan behavior?
No.
No. That's tough then. That's right. So basically, right. So
that's like saying, okay, people know murders is wrong, but the murder rate in the United States going down? No. People know, like, come on. People break laws every day. Like just because it's a law and people say you can't do it, that does not deter people from doing it. So
that's a good point.
I don't think that's going to change anything. Because if a fan is brave enough to do it in the first place, if they're brave enough to do it in the first place, it doesn't matter, if they know this could happen to them. That don't matter. That don't matter. Motherfuckers raided the Capitol. People don't care, man.
You're right. Yeah, you know what? When you put it in that, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. I can't argue with that. I can't argue with that. You are 100% absolutely right. Oh man,
January 6th, man.
But I think Draymond has a point in a way. Well, I mean, he has a point because he's saying it's kind of one-sided, right? Like, so like you saying, the fans don't really care. They'll do whatever. But then, and of course, the NBA, they're held to a higher standard, right? So, but his thing is like, all it takes for, a fan could say anything crazy, and all I have to do, if I just say, yo, shut up, or I curse back at them, I'm getting a $25,000 fine just off of that.
I don't agree with that right there.
Okay.
I don't agree with that. Like, okay. I think I think, when it comes to talk, listen, as long as like this, as long as no one crosses the line of going in the stands and putting hands on someone, then that's too much. But yo, shut up, yo. But I think players, because I don't know if they get. I've seen Russell Westbrook say stuff back. I've seen numerous players say stuff back. I don't know if they get fined for it. But
well, I think it depends what you say. So if you curse back at them, or if you say, "Oh, I'm gonna fuck you up," or what I'm saying, or something like that, then you're gonna get fined. If you tell them shut up, or something like that, it may not get to a fine. But if you curse at them or you threaten them, if say they threaten you, but then you threaten them back, that type of thing. So that's why they said Draymond actually did the right thing. He didn't really respond to the dude. He just called the referee. Referee got security, and then they escorted the person out. So, but if he had, but basically what he said was, because if I had cursed back at the dude or said, basically, if I repeated back to him what he said to me, all he gets is escorted out, and I'm getting a $25,000 fine. So it's not, you know what I mean? Like, it's not balanced. And of course it's because they're held to a higher standard and all of that. I get it, but just on a human level, that's not fair. But
basketball is tricky because it's
so close. Yeah, you're right. It's so close to the court, right?
Yeah,
and that's the crazy, and that's the most. You want to talk about the people with money, they're the ones that sit in the closest, and they're the ones that saying the most outlandish things. Now, the people up top, they could be saying outlandish stuff too, but you would think, right, that these people that down low, they're supposed to be these high class people, they got money, but they're just saying the craziest stuff too. Because if they're close enough that they can hear them, then that means they're close. So that means they paid a lot of money for that ticket, or they know someone that has a lot of money.
People up top usually get away with saying stuff as the players are like going through the tunnel. They'll come down and catch them at the tunnel and say what they got to say. That's why a lot of the throwing and the because they throw the popcorn and the bears when they go into that tunnel and shit at the end of the game. That's when they get away with it, and that's when they say nobody going to see him. There's a bunch of people around, so let me just. And
the crowd they ducking and yeah. Or like you said, or if they really just been drinking and they just they don't care, they're just going on. All right. That's well, we'll see. Draymond's advocating for some stricter laws to be on the books, so we'll see if he gets anywhere with that. So let's finish up with the power rankings. So right now, the top 10 in the league, we got the Boston Celtics. They're rolling. They're playing really well, right? So you got them in number 1. You got and let's give credit to the interim coach. He's doing a good job. He's doing a good job with him. He's doing a good job.
All right, he's doing a good job with him, but look at the talent you got, brother.
They do, for sure.
You better be doing a good job with them.
But I will say my personal opinion.
Are they running a whole different system than what they were running before?
I don't think it's different, but I will say though, I think it's hard. It's not easy to get those two dudes to play together because I don't think they necessarily jive with each other. I don't think they
Brown and Tatum.
Yeah, I don't think they jive with each other too good. So if you can get them to, because I think that's what Udoka did good in the regular season. He got them to play and in the first couple of rounds of the playoffs, he did a good job of getting them to play together. Then once they got to the finals, it all fell apart. But but for now, they're doing the same thing they've been doing. They're playing together. They're not. So that to me, that's his job, is to get those guys to play together. Because if they do, then they're really talented in it. But if they just decide I'm gonna just do my own thing, then that's when they fall apart. So at least up to this point, he's been doing a good job of managing that situation. So I'll give him credit for that. All right, then you got the Milwaukee Bucks. They're right behind them. They've been playing great.
They're both 20-7.
Yep. Then you got the Pelicans, man. Zion, he's healthy, and they're rolling.
I'm liking the Pelicans. They
got a nice team. They got good role players, and Zion's playing like
They got a tall team.
Yeah, no, they're long. Yeah, no.
They got a lot of length on their team.
Ingram and those. Yeah, no, they got talent, man. Got talent. So then right behind them, you got the Grizzlies right behind them. John Morant continuing to play well and do his thing. The young Cleveland team, obviously with the addition of that was a trade people weren't sure how that would go, but Donovan Mitchell going over and with the young talent that they have,
Should have had him on the Knicks, man.
What's that?
Should have had him on the Knicks, man. Knicks dropped the ball with that one.
Hey, he said he would. He said he would have. He said he would.
They dropped the ball with that one, man. I know I got the Chicago shit on right now, but I'm a Knicks fan.
Yeah, I feel you. It's for the drip. It's for the drip. I feel you. All right, so you got that. So you got Cleveland Cavaliers. They're playing well. They're number 5 right now. Right behind them, a team I think has a lot of talent, and now it seems that they're trying to come to form is the Nuggets, Denver. They have a lot of talent, and they're healthy, and they're starting to do their thing.
But doesn't Denver do this every year too?
Yeah. But what usually happens is somebody gets hurt.
Yeah.
That's what usually happens. The Murray goes down, or then Porter Jr. Somebody usually ends up getting hurt when they have a good regular season, and then they get to the playoffs, and then somebody gets hurt, or a couple guys get hurt, and then that throws them all off. So if they can stay healthy, I think they're formidable. All right, then right behind them you got Phoenix. Phoenix was higher up, and it dropped a little bit, but they're still still a talented team.
I think Portland's on top of Phoenix right now.
Is that right? They on the list you had? Okay.
They have the same record, but Portland's on top. But I think Portland they hold the game over Phoenix. They beat Phoenix early in the year.
Yeah. No, they did. And that was a game where they got. Oh no, I'm sorry. Not. I was thinking of when. Pelicans, and they got mad at Zion for the dunk when they was blowing them out. All right, then you got Brooklyn making a little run at it, and then Philly, and then Golden State. But now Steph Steph went down with an injury to his shoulder, so he's going to be out for a couple of weeks. Yeah, so that's a blow for them, and got a couple of big games coming out. So I want the Bucks and the Pelicans are playing right now, I believe. I don't know if you have the ticket.
Right now we got the Bucks and the Grizzlies are playing.
How did I have that wrong? Is the Bucks and the Grizzlies playing?
Yeah, the Grizzlies are
okay, I might have wrote that down wrong. Okay.
The Grizzlies are winning 54-27 right now.
Oh wow. Okay.
The second quarter. Wow. And you got the Heat and the Rockets playing. The Heat are winning 53-43 in the second quarter.
Okay, and I think the Warriors and the Sixers play tomorrow. But that should be you never know.
Tonight, you got the Pelicans playing the Jazz and the Suns playing the Clippers. That's going to be a good game. The Suns, both of those games are going to be good games. The Pelicans and the Jazz and the Suns and the Clippers should be good games.
Right, and then Saturday you be big matchup between the rematch, the Pelicans and Phoenix on Saturday. So that the rematch. So they'll be looking for some Revenge for Zion.
It's going to be in Phoenix. That's going to be
right. It's going to be in Phoenix. So that's a good. So we got a couple minutes left. For what's your thoughts on do you agree with those power rankings, or do you where are you seeing who do you like in the league right now, the teams that are strong, and how do you see it unfolding over the next couple of weeks going into Christmas?
Let's see. Right now I'm liking Boston.
Mm-hmm.
Boston is playing good. I'm liking what the Pelicans are doing. I'm liking what Memphis is doing. The Clippers are actually playing well.
They got talent.
They got the talent. They get their shit together. They do some.
They can get healthy and get all them dudes on the court at one time. They got a stacked roster.
Definitely. I'm liking. I don't see them going anywhere in the playoffs, but I am liking what Portland's doing. Without McCullough, Dame and the new dude over there. What's his name? I forgot the new dude he got over there with him. The young guy. I forgot his name, but he's stepping up. Let me see. But Portland's doing good. I like what Dame is doing. He's definitely solidifying his spot as a real superstar.
Oh, for sure. Dude.
But yeah, that's about it. Mm-hmm. I definitely want to see what the Pelicans like. They're my team to watch, yo. I'm liking the Pelicans. I actually could sound like they're my team to watch. I think they could do some things in the playoffs. I think they and this is very early. This is very
for
good.
sure.
But I think they create a lot of bad matchups for teams.
Mm-hmm. They do.
They create a lot of bad matchups, and then when playoffs do come around, you know, the game is slowed up in the playoffs, it's slowed down some and stuff. You know, a lot of more half court play. I think they have a team that can adjust to that.
Mm-hmm.
And they great defensively. They did. So that's my team right now for the West. For the East, I'm saying Boston. I'm gonna rock with Boston for the East, even though I'm a Knicks fan, but I'm realistic. I'm going with Boston for the East right now. Right now.
All right.
You?
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I think the Celtics are looking strong, and I agree with the Pelicans. The only thing I question with the Pelicans, you know, they're young, so once they get into the playoffs, do they have guys that'll, you know, step up and know what that's about once they get there?
But they got the last 3 years though, you know, so they got a little bit of experience. They had a pretty decent run last year. Mm-hmm. You know, I think they went second round last year.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
I believe it was second round. So, you know, and they played well.
Mm-hmm.
They took Phoenix to 7, didn't they?
I don't remember off the top of my head, but yeah, no, they were competitive.
I believe they took Phoenix to 7, and that was without Zion.
Right, without Zion. Yep. So a little bit formidable. Well, now this was a fun show. So appreciate you, Dutch. You know, coming through in the clutch. Dutch coming through in the clutch. Filling in from a man Tyler. So Tyler should be back next week. But you know, definitely want to thank everybody for joining us tonight, and we will see you again next week on the Live by the 3 podcast on the Evening Rush Network. Have a good night, everybody. Peace.
Good night.